Good morning to you and welcome to Perspectives, a current affairs discussion program on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi. We must start by sincerely apologizing to you for bringing you the program a bit behind schedule. It is due to circumstances beyond our immediate control. We hope you will bear with us. This edition of Perspectives, our focus is on the federal and Benue State government's 1 year in office. Remember, on the 29th of May last year, that is 2023, the present administration at the federal and state level were sworn into offices. And today marks exactly 1 year since coming on board as government for our dear country and our state, Benue. You may recall that His Excellency Governor Hyacinth earlier took his oath of office on this day, the 29th day of May, at the Ibrahim Babangida Square, IBB Square here in Makudi. And President Bola Tinubu also took his oath of office as President of Nigeria in Abuja at the Eagle Square. It is expected that generally within 1 year of the life of an administration, it is considered as a period of first impressions. Often there are expectations that within 1 year, an administration will point at some achievements that show the people the direction it is headed. In this 1 year that this government has come on board, what are the achievements it has recorded? What are the areas of weaknesses that needs to be improved upon? What is the assessment of Nigerians? And those who have been there traveling this route, what can they point to as we discuss this day? These are some of the issues we shall be focusing on this edition of Perspectives. And to lead us on this subject matter, I have two discussants with me in the studio. First is the Commissioner for Power, Renewable Energy and Transport in Benue State, Barrister Omale. Omale is our guest on Perspectives this morning. Welcome to Agate Radio, Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you. Good morning, listeners.
We also have a civil society person and a seasoned public affairs commentator. She is the Executive Director, Elohim Development Foundation, Dr. Victoria Daaor. Welcome to Perspectives, Dr. Daaor.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, and good to have you on the program. Nigerians and Benue people, this is what we are focusing on. And if you are joining Perspectives on this, this is your first time joining this program, please be informed that it is an audience participatory program. We allow those listening to us to call in and also share their thoughts with us or send messages to contribute on the issue we are discussing. The program enjoys airtime from now to 11 a.m. and at 10 o'clock we avail you the lines through which you can reach us. And let's start very quickly, but I would like to take you memory lane, especially here in Benue. As I mentioned, on the 29th of May, His Excellency Governor Hyacinth earlier took his oath of office at the IBB Square in Makudi. Let's travel down the memory lane to listen to some of the highlights of the speeches he made on that day. Please take a listen with me. Okay, a quick mix up there. We'll come back to that shortly, soon as we'll try to fix it. But for now, let's take a listen once again.
Hope is here. We are faced with a situation of sustained insecurity. I assure you, Benue, that as a government, your government, we will act. One of the most pressing issues facing our state today, Celia mentioned, that of insecurity. We cannot achieve any meaningful development in an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. As your governor, I'm committed to working with security agencies and the federal government to ensure the safety of lives and property in our state. We will also tirelessly address the root causes of insecurity, such as poverty, unemployment, and social exclusion. We will prioritize job creation and economic empowerment by promoting private sector-led industrialization, with a particular emphasis on agriculture. to provide immediate succor to the army of unemployed youth in the state. We shall execute this exercise through a public works scheme or direct labor for revamping the moribund Benue Microfinance Bank and repositioning it as a vehicle for microcredit delivery in the state. This would domesticate the delivery of microcredit to the poor as a cardinal pursuit of our administration. We will prioritize the training and development of our teachers and provide them with the necessary tools and resources to deliver quality education. We will prioritize and address the issue by ensuring that all verified arrears of salaries, pensions, and gratuity are paid promptly without further delay. We will run an open, accountable, and transparent government. In fact, we shall make these our economic articles of faith. May I announce that effective immediately and until further notice, all government bank accounts in all banks are hereby frozen.
All right, that's Governor Hyacinth Alia taking his oath of office on this day, 29th day of May, last year at the IBB Square, a highlight of some of the speeches he made that day. Honorable Commissioner, you just listened to the Governor of Benue State in memory lane, 1 year in office. How far so far? What can we point out to this government? Let's begin at the federal government and then later on we will narrow to Benue State government. 1 year coming on board. How far so far?
Yeah, Mr. Nat, I say a very big thank you for the opportunity to have me once again in the studio on this Perspective Nigeria. Today is remarkable in all ramification for the people of Nigeria and particularly for the people of Benue State. It marks again where this current administration, be it that of the President of Nigeria, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and His Excellency the Executive Governor of Benue State himself, Reverend Dr. Hyacinth Omale, are marking their 1 year in office as the President and the Governor of Benue State, respectively. In all sphere, one could very well say, so far, so good. There's this popular adage that says it is very easy to identify the eye that can take you to your latter days. President Buhari came in on the mantra of renewed hope, coming from the background of himself participating in the Nigerian politics from the time of Nadeko through the time he became Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Governor of Lagos State for 8 years, and stayed actively in the drive of galvanizing opposition to government. And eventually, in 2013, a major political party through his instrumentality was formed, APC, that eventually ousted the PDP-led Nigerian federal government. And then in some states, APC was enthroned as a government with clear people-based, people-centered, and people-driven political ideology that we saw under the immediate past president of Nigeria, President Buhari, and eventually Tinubu became the president, bringing hope to the people of Nigeria and sounding it loud and clear that the people of Nigeria should enjoy fresh breath. That predicates upon the drive of his political and electioneering campaigns and the trust that the people of Nigeria gave him, and he became the president. And true to type, in Benue State, we're coming from a very disconnecting background in political governance, be it at the level of the state, be it between the people and government, and be it interstate between the state and the federal government, and even our relationship with connecting states. That disconnect set us back greatly, and then the Reverend Gentleman, Reverend Hyacinth Alia, owned himself out to fix this disconnect and to bring succor to the people of Benue State.
Okay, we'll dive into how he's bringing the succor. But for now, let me come to you, Dr. Daaor. 1 year coming on board of this administration, let's begin at the federal level. President Tinubu came on board with a renewed hope mantra, as pointed out by the commissioner. 1 year down the line, is the hope of Nigerians renewed, would you say?
I don't think so. You know, we are on two sides of the divide. My co-discussant and I. He's a politician. I'm a civil society activist.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a point where we will both agree. But when it comes to the federal level...
Okay, you plan to agree later on.
Yes, there's the point where we will agree. I'm very sure about that.
It's
very, very sure about that. Particularly when we come to Benue State, I'm sure we'll have a lot of points to agree.
Okay.
But at the federal level, I would not say, based on what we see on ground, the current state of living of the average Nigerian, I would not say that hope has been renewed. Across board, when you talk to Nigerians in all spheres of life, there's a sense of despondency and people not actually knowing where we're going to. Yes, I believe that when you implement policies and all that, it gets tougher before it gets better, right? Especially when it comes to economic policies, it usually gets tougher before it gets better. But for people who had already been at a point of who were already disillusioned before this government came in, the expected relief that Nigerians wanted, I don't think we have received it from the federal level. Yes, there's a lot of talk about one policy or the other, one thing or the other, one economic reform. Our president even said we should let the poor breathe. But right now, I do not think the poor are breathing. I don't think they are breathing. I think the poor is suffocating in Nigeria. Things have become very, very difficult. You can barely buy fuel, but there's something that strikes me. Before now in Nigeria, things were not this bad before you'd get agitations left, right, and center. The mere fact that things have become so difficult and there's hardly any agitation anywhere from the common man shows you the state of mind of the common man. People are tired. People have given up. They're just sitting and watching. Well, whatever comes our way. In the past 1 year, statistics also show that we've had more professionals leaving Nigeria than in the past 5 years. The number of people who, as we say, have jackpot from Nigeria, particularly professionals, has increased, particularly in the health sector and the educational sector. All these are issues of concern for me. So I believe Nigeria will get better, but for now, I think in this 1 year, it's been very difficult for the average Nigerian. Looking at the policies from the national level, I also feel that there's still a lot more that needs to be done, especially explaining some of the policies that are, you don't just say things and expect people to. There's clamor for everywhere. There are problems. The NLC is at loggerheads. I just heard this morning that the discussions on minimum wage
ended in deadlock.
Yes, it ended in a deadlock, which means that we are at the brink of a strike action, probably anytime soon. And we all know what we've gone through as a country. Whenever we have all these kind of strike actions, the common man suffers, the educational sector suffers, the health sector suffers. So there's a lot to be desired. I still think that at the national level, we're not breathing, we're actually choking based on this 1 year. So for me, for the past 1 year, my hope has not yet been renewed. Hopefully, along the way, just because I'm a die-hard Nigerian, yes, I believe in the Nigerian dream, but the average Nigerian is going through so much.
Honorable Commissioner, you are a lawyer. Your co-discussant just mentioned that the poor are not breathing. Are there areas that you would like to point out that the government of President Bola Tinubu at the federal level is letting the poor to actually breathe? What are the sectors it has gotten right that you would like to point out so far?
Yeah, true to type, this program is perspective Nigeria. It showcased how every individual group of persons would view and appreciate every particular issue. And it all depends from the angle and dimension from where we want to express our concern. So I agree with her
that
to the extent
you agree with her that the poor are not breathing?
That is perceptional issue, that the poor are not breathing.
All right.
And because I'm not also living in abstraction. I'm a Nigerian living in Benue State and then crisscrossing the length and breadth of Nigeria within this assignment that I have for and on behalf of the government of Benue State. So I very well could resonate with the feelings on the ground. But all we own, the people of Nigeria, is that reassured hope that there is a better Nigeria with us. And transforming or realizing this social transformation or welfare policy of government are not in strict sense mechanical, right? It's going to take a little while for this to permeate and for us to also get it right, wherein every citizen of Nigeria that are targeted by policy of government enjoy, the thinking and the provision of government for their welfare. APC as a political party and then the Tinubu-led administration and her policy are all web up and connect to social welfare administration. And how do they intend to do that? I started by saying the agenda of APC is to have a people-based, people-centered, people-driven government. And true to type, when President Tinubu assumed office, there are certain issues that were very topical and on the front burner, that every government in past had parried, had jumped over, and had also paid lip service to, particularly the issue of subsidy or fuel subsidy removal. All right? Government in time past and commentators have shared a view that it's a scam, and that for us to get in Nigeria right, there is every need for that subsidy to be removed.
Apologies to interrupt you, Honorable Commissioner. That particular issue of subsidy, that phrase, subsidy gone, would you say it has actually made Nigeria to feel better than the way it is before Mr. President Tinubu came on board? That particular phrase of subsidy gone.
Yes, the subsidy removal in its context had its implication, positive, negative, immediate, short-term, and the long run. In the immediate, it's meant to, put the market in the hands of the people and align the forces of, demand and supply to interact. It also put investor at a position where they determine the interaction around the supply and demand chain in the market, all right? So that's for the immediate. But in the short term, everybody is going to come to term, be the people and the investor, to the realization that, oh yes, we have to live within our means, and then we have to do business not to necessarily make overnight profit, but to break even. And in the context of breaking that even, we'll meet ourselves at midpoint. And then this true fresh breath that the people are expected to assume will now find expression. But having said that, when the people of Nigeria agreed with the recommendation of government to remove fuel subsidy, there was an ancillary explanation on the possible implication of all this, and the people subscribed to it. How then did the government, who appreciated again that there will be immediate, short-term, and medium-term impact of that fuel subsidy removal, the government promptly came up with palliative measure that is coordinated from the central through the various states and the local government. Whether this is utilized by every government is a matter for discussion. But again, for us in Benue State, when that subsidy was removed, the federal government made pronouncement they're going to give palliative of a benchmark of 5 billion naira to several states. First tranche of it was released, 2 billion naira. Benue State government assessed this 2 billion naira. The intervention was meant to cushion the immediate impact of subsidy removal. And for us in Benue State, while we were waiting for the second matchup for the 3 billion naira, the Benue State government direct that intervention in the area of transportation. That, because of fuel subsidy, price of petrol and petroleum-related product is going to go up, and it will tell on the cost of transportation.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, again, I will beg to come in here. And later on, we'll be focusing more on Benue. But with this intervention you mentioned, that Benue accessed 2 billion naira as part of the palliative package. The remaining 3 billion, has it been accessed by the government yet? And in what areas has it been deployed, if it is accessed?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, as we speak, no, not at the moment. But the release were programmed in tranches. And they were also going to be warehoused in several other areas of intervention. First was in that cash release of 2 billion naira. And so far, so good. You can also see federal government policy in wealth redistribution as far as intervention to the poor of the poorest are concerned. And then as far as educational sector is concerned, the various program that exists in the past administration to include cash transfer program and policy, were now redesigned and properly warehoused in the Nigerian Care Program. The Nigerian Care Program is a federal government policy that is meant to, cushion the impact of, this hardship, or give expression to Mr. President's remark, wherein he says that the poor should breathe. These programs were carefully articulated in a manner that, if well stepped down, will benefit the people of the country. How are we benefiting of it? Yes, in the manner that it is currently handled and driven in other states, we might be very far from it. But for us in Benue State, as a member of cabinet, I do know that the governor issued a directive through the Office of Budget and Economic Planning, who is working with that of Ministry of Finance and all other intervening area, Ministry of Agri, Ministry of Investment, Ministry of Youth, to galvanize all the data that we need so that the people of Benue State can key in into this immediate short-term interventionist program of the federal government. And I can tell us, by the close of the second, third quarter of last year, Benue State government did a march of that intervention, and it was stepped down for the benefit 24. Benue State has also done a marching ground. That fund has been assessed for MD care distribution in the 4 thematic areas in Benue State, from agri through medium and small-scale investment, and through other form of intervention to the youths and the elderly people of Benue State.
Okay, let me come to you now, Dr. Daaor. In what areas has the Tinubu-led administration shown policy direction in its first year of coming into office?
You see, when you say in what areas, there have been a lot of policies flying around. Okay, let's look at the petroleum sector. I listened to Honorable Commissioner here. Yes, I understand that when it comes to, the government has tried to put in measures, palliative measures, to help cushion the effect. But my query with the subsidy issue was the way it even came on board. I do not think that at the day the president was making his speech exactly 1 year ago, I do not think that what he meant that day was that the subsidy was supposed to take effect immediately. From my understanding of his speech, what he was trying to say was that there was no way Nigeria was going to continue on the trajectory it was going, but that subsidy would have to be removed. But trusting us as Nigerians, we latched onto that statement, and in a matter of minutes, everything changed around the country, and nothing could be done about it. The NNPC, everybody just went along with what the marketers and every other person was doing. So for me, whatever was being done later was just to what's the word? To save face, to try and cover up the lapses that had taken place. A lot of the policies that are being put in place, some of them I feel are not even necessary for now. There's one now that everybody is talking about, the current bill that has been passed for us to go back to the old national anthem. Well, some people say, is that our problem for now? We have issues with insecurity in the country, which I think is still our major problem in the country. And I don't really see, as a civil society person, I don't see anything that is being done differently from what has been on ground before. We're still hearing the same stories. We're still hearing that all hands are on deck. We're still hearing that money is being voted for security. We're still hearing all these things. But whether it translates into us seeing a definite change in the lives of the people is where our concern is. For us, we can hear policies, but we want to see the direct effect on the lives of the people. In this one here, has insecurity been reduced? Can we say it has reduced? Or have the taxes changed? Has the area of focus or the kinds of attacks or the levels of insecurity, have they changed? Has it moved from one region of the country to another? Have we, there's the zero tolerance, what's that policy? Zero tolerance for this policy that talks about negotiating with bandits and all that. There's that policy. Is it actually being implemented? Because things happen. We see 140 something children abducted, and then in a few days they are brought back. Nobody tells us what happened. How did we get them back? Did we actually negotiate? Was there a discussion? So it looks as if we're playing on the intelligence of Nigerians. You can't say one thing and then be doing another thing, and then we are just expected to sit and watch it like a movie. Whatever you see happening, there are many policies. I can't readily even bring a lot of them to my head now. But for me, policy or no policy, it is the current state of living of the Nigerian that we are bothered about. Where are we right now? Honorable Commissioner says things will eventually get better. I believe so too. Like I said, I know that it will get harder before it gets better. But we're talking about where we are right now, today, not the future. For now, a lot of the policy directions of the government have not yet yielded the desired results, at least from the federal level. And there's something he talked about. He said whether it is being implemented properly is another story altogether. We can have good policies, but who drives it? Are the ministers at the federal level, are they pulling their weight in their various ministries? Are we pushing the agenda, this renewed hope agenda? Is it actually being pushed at every level, at every ministry? Is it everybody that has keyed into that renewed hope vision at the federal level? And are we seeing the commensurate results at the end of the day?
It's okay. Honorable Commissioner, security, insecurity, one of the cardinal issues that has been on the front burner, which your colleague pointed out. How far would you say the government, especially at the federal level, and later on will trickle it down to Benue, has fared in this regard, as well as the cost of living for the average Nigerians, as your colleague pointed out?
Yeah, incidentally, there are facts that you cannot contend with, right? They are very established one, that at a point in the life of Nigeria, there was a big drift, and the insecurity became a pain that threatened our social well-being and even political and economic activities in the country. But nevertheless, we have also seen decisive action from government, past and present, with all effort directed towards, curbing the state of insecurity in Nigeria. Yes, you made allusion to the expression of government in the area of total or zero tolerance for terrorism, to which there was an act, and all states have also domesticated this act, so their state law against every criminal or terrorist act, every activities or group of persons that threatens our collective or corporate existence. These laws are all positive effort by government, past and present, to bring in insecurity to the barest minimum, because they understand very well that they can only be good governance or meaningful livelihood, arising from the core and fundamental duty of every government, protection of life and property, for there to be good governance. So, for us in Benue, yes, part of the 7-point agenda, driving it all is, addressing the state of insecurity so that our people can have a better life, for government to have good environment to carry out well thought out intention for the benefit of the good people of Benue State. Yes, we have also seen very coordinated effort from the federal alongside state, particularly Benue State and the federal government, to addressing the state of insecurity. There hasn't been a prompt response from the federal government to states' requests in time past, but under the government of Reverend Dr. Hyacinth Omale, at the time that every issue, red flag is raised on areas of insecurity, there is that coordination promptly between the federal government and the state government to addressing it. And repeatedly, we have heard the governors telling us, and truth to type, is the fact that there is a relative state of, peace in the state and in the country, not stating or running away from the obvious skirmishes that we still have around of, kidnapping, banditries, connected to herders, farmers' issues, or herders who had constituted themselves into bandits and are going into criminal activities that threaten and send packing our communities for reasons that are best known to them. But the commitment of government in that area is total and complete.
Okay.
We can see.
Okay, let me interrupt you. Let's have a refresher of some highlights of the speech of President Bola Tinubu when he took over. I had actually wanted us to start with that, but my technical team just evaded me that now. Let's take a refresher, then we'll try to conclude our thoughts on the aspect of federal government. Let's take a listen, please.
I thank you. So who did vote for me? I thank you as well. I extend my hand across the political divide. I ask you to grasp the national affinity and brotherhood. For me, political polarization has faded away. All I see here are Nigerians, all of you. May we uphold this treaty, an excellent notion as a new Nigeria idea, my fellow citizens. Nigeria idea, which I speak of, is more than just an improvement in economic and statistics. These things are important, but they can never convey the fullness of our story. Our mission is to improve our ways of life in a manner that nurtures our humanity, encourages compassion towards one another, and duly reward our collective effort to social evil that seek to divide us. Our Constitution gives us a nation on paper. We must work hard at bringing these noble documents to life by strengthening the bond of economic collaboration, social cohesion, and cultural understanding. Let us develop a shared sense of fairness and equality. That must not only see good for itself, but must understand that interest are served where goods come to the north. North must not see the south likewise. Whether from the winding creeks of Niger Delta, the fastness of northern savannah, the boardroom of Lagos, the building bustling capital of Abuja, as busy market of Onitsha. You are all the people. As your president, I shall serve you with prejudice towards none, but compassion and amity towards all. In the coming days and weeks, my team will publicly detail the key aspects of our economic program. Today, permit me to outline in broad terms a few initiatives that divide our concept of progressive good governance and furtherance of the Nigerian idea. The principles that will guide our administration are very simple. Nigeria will be impartially governed according to the rule of law. Constitution, we shall defend the nation from terror and all form of criminality that threatens the peace and stability of our country. We shall remodel our economy to bring our growth and develop the GDP much better, achieve the GDP much better than we have here. I assure you. Do that through job creation, food security, and an end to extreme poverty. In our administration, women and youth will feature prominently. Our government will continue to take proactive steps towards championing a credit culture to discourage corruption while strengthening the effectiveness and efficiency of the various anti-corruption agencies.
All right. Those are some of the highlights. Strengthen the fight against corruption. Let's go back to that. Apart from security, you listen. The president highlighted a lot of issues: job creation, improve the well-being. The well-being of Nigerians' welfare. Part of which we are still grappling with the issue of high cost of living. Labour is negotiating a national minimum wage that ended in deadlock as at yesterday. Honorable Commissioner, comment to some of this briefly, and then we'll go to your colleague, and later we'll come to Benue.
Yes, I know very well that President Tinubu appreciated the background for where he owned himself out to manage the country Nigeria. And these were very well articulate in his inaugural speech as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, addressing how the need to manage Nigeria across party divide and without sentiments to any ideological or idiosyncrasy that exists in the country, knowing it as a BAME that unity of purpose is the only driving force that could transform Nigeria. He very well also understood the tendency that got us into the mess that we were, and then the height point of corruption in the polity, and the need to clean it up so that we can have a better life for the people of Nigeria. And upon assumption of office, and like he rightly mentioned in his inaugural speech, all effort, so far so good, were targeted at giving expression or giving life to the content of the Constitution, like he alluded or rightly alluded to. We saw that in active or overt step in his administration, from the area of appointment to carefully, articulation and distribution of, infrastructural program for the country Nigeria. Trying all effort to bring a Nigerian on board so that we can truly have the expression, as the Constitution mentioned, that it's our collective heritage and that no sector should have an up consideration because the president is coming from that corner. We have seen that decisive action by Mr. President, and I can say so far so good. All the policy of the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu are directed to giving expression to the well-articulated renewed hope agenda that he pushed forward for the people of Nigeria. Like I say, 1 year, so far so good, because we don't expect that this will be realized, and hence you can see an action plan. Year 1, year 2, and year 3. We have understood governance, and then we are beginning to test run policy of government, and then we'll do our assessment and reassessment at the close of this 1 year. And I can assure us, as we move into tomorrow, the second year in the life of the administration at the federal and even at the state, issues will be aligned and then will be properly realized for the benefit of the people of Nigeria.
It's okay. Let's hope so. Dr. Daaor, you also listened to the president. He touched on so many issues. Is there anything you would like to point out that among the issues the president highlighted in his inaugural speech, job creation, fight against corruption, is there any strength you would like to point out that the government he's leading has so far achieved in its 1 year coming on board?
Okay, when he talks about job creation, talks about education and all that.
The fight against corruption.
Yes, fight against corruption and all that.
Yes.
The fight against corruption is not a one-man affair. It's all hands on deck kind of arrangement. But if we look at in the past 1 year, yes, we've had a lot of persecutions. We've had a lot of people. A lot of government officials who have had to face the EFCC, who have had one problem or the other, who are being called to book to answer for things they have done. But whether it will amount to much is what we don't know. The Minister for Humanitarian Affairs was indicted as being involved in some fraudulent practices. Okay, she was stepped down. We have not been told clearly what has happened to her. A committee was set up to look into that. We've not received any report from the committee. We've not heard what the final outcome of that investigation is. So we are not seeing very clear cuts. I know he says it's 1 year. There's an action plan. We should be happy with that. Yes, it's good that there's an action plan, but it's not enough to have the action plan if we do not do a critical assessment of what has happened in this 1 year and to see where the loopholes are and begin to tweak it. When you have an action plan, you monitor and evaluate periodically at the beginning, in the course of the work, and at the end. So what we're doing now across the country today, in the past 1 week, is to just check where those loopholes are, where needs more strengthening. What should the government do? What did you say you would do? That if you listen to, he kept mentioning that we must engage with Nigerians with compassion.
Yes.
He mentioned that more than 3 times in the short compassion. My question is, have we seen compassion play out in all this? It's like you beat me, you collect something from me, and then you just give me something small and call it palliative. Palliative is actually just to calm me down, to tell me, don't make too much noise, calm down, something good is coming.
Be calming down.
Yes, just be calming down. Take this one, whole body, as Nigerians we say, take this one, hold body.
Yes.
But what Nigerians want to see, Nigerians don't want to go, we want to go beyond just holding body. We want to be able to live a life that every Nigerian citizen is worthy of. That's all we are saying. Nobody is saying that the government is incompetent or the government does not have the interest of Nigerians at heart. We're saying that some of the results we're expecting are a bit slow. Some are not clear to us. They are not clear. Nigerians are not really sure where this is going to end. Okay, let's look at this policy of the student loan policy. The president says that no Nigerian youth should be deprived of education because of their background, maybe because you are from a poor background. And so the idea of the student loan has come out. My question is, was it properly thought through? Are we sure that the process is going to be seamless from beginning to end? Is it not just another process to send out money into? Is it actually a loan? Or is it a grant? Because in Nigeria, many times we have heard about loans that never get repaid. The mindset of the average Nigerian, when you say loan, they just, it's not any loan. It's our own share of the national cake. Have we thought it through? Is there a process that money will come back into the system to benefit those who are coming, from the back? Are we not just handing out, giving handouts just to make an already bad situation look good? My problem is the implementation of all these policies. Yes, they might sound good, but what are we doing concerning implementation? How are we following through with the implementation? Domesticating federal laws at state level, it's not as easy as it sounds. It's very easy for a state legislator to say, okay, we accept this law from the national, we're going to domesticate. Domestication also has to do with you looking at your peculiar circumstances in your state and adapting the law to suit it. Sometimes it's not as straightforward as it seems. There are peculiarities in every state that makes it almost impossible to domesticate just the way it is from the national level. So I think on the federal level, a lot still needs to be done. For me, as a civil society activist, hope is not renewed. We're still watching to see what happens, but we're hopeful that this action plan that has been laid out will be followed properly, and that the right hands will push this agenda. Hopefully, when we come back in another year,
yes,
to talk about the
second
year to talk about it, we should be able, at least in 2 years, we should be able to have said some progress has been made from where we are today. Hopefully, Nigerians will be at a much better place. The pressure would have eased on us economically, and then, because as long as Nigerians are facing this tight economic crunch, nothing else will make sense to us.
Okay. Dear listener, in case you are just tuning in, you have been listening to Perspectives on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makurdi. We are discussing the federal and Benue State government's 1 year in office. I have with me as discussants here in the studio the Commissioner for Power, Renewable Energy and Transport in Benue State, Barrister Omale, and also a civil society activist, a public affairs commentator, Executive Director, Elohim Development Foundation, Dr. Victoria Daaor. They are leading us on the discussion, and the numbers through which you can reach us to also contribute is 0814-335-9292, 0814-335-9292. The one for text messages is 0912-699-9404, 0912-699-9404. If you are sending a message or a chat, please include your name and the location you are sending the message from. Let's remind you, you may listen to us also via our website on www.agateradiotv.com. If you log on to the website, please check the top right corner of the website. You see a radio icon there, and if you click on it, you listen to us live. Also, if you have your Radio Garden app on any device at all, you can listen to Agate Radio there. And this program is streaming on our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you search Agate Radio and TV out, you will sure find us there and watch us live. Just before we start taking calls very shortly, let's open a discussion briefly on Benue. Then we'll engage with callers, and later on we'll dwell more on Benue. Honorable Commissioner, one of the cardinal issues in the earlier highlight of the speech of Governor Hyacinth earlier that we listened to earlier, he pointed out the issue of security, collaborating with security agencies to fight insecurity in Benue. Within 1 year, how far so far with regards to the fight against insecurity in Benue?
Yes, listeners, again, we need to know what drives an administration. When Governor earlier owned himself out as a candidate and was calling for the votes from the good people of Benue State, he articulates his manifestos. And when he became a governor, upon inauguration or at inaugural speech, he also clearly mentioned to the people of Benue State what he said, the areas he identified as the core area for intervention that would spin good governance in Benue State. And that was articulated in his 7-point agenda for the Benue people. Security of lives and property was the driving one, because he understood that there cannot be meaningful governance, there cannot be meaningful development, there cannot be a distraction from the core mandate of government, protection of lives and property, without addressing the state of insecurity in Nigeria. And repeatedly, he kept saying it. If I have opportunity through your votes, I will execute a social contract between my government and the people of Benue State, and those who were displaced by the activities of bandits and the herders in our state that are not in their ancestral home. All effort will be directed at relocating them back to their ancestral home so that they can carry out the good work of that they do for themselves. That, among others, were the driving elements. And true, I can say this far, this good, that when he came, he understood that there was no way that we can detract from the then observation by the last government that prohibit open grazing. And we re-emphasize that open grazing is a bar in Benue State. If you want to do your business of grazing, ranch them so that we know those whom we are dealing with. And then he went into reconnecting Benue State to the federal government in the area of security management. And there is that coordination between the Benue State and the federal government on matter of security surveillance, intelligence gathering, and managing the state of insecurity that pervaded before his assumption of office. And he's bringing it down to a relatively barest level as we speak now, even though there are skirmishes here and there, but the government is committed. I recall when there was an upsurge in Agatu, Apa, in Gwe, in Logo, in Ukum. The governor promptly, spoke with the Federal Security Agency, and detachment of troops were released to be on ground and quell the situation as it were. Security matters, true to it, could be a matter of discreet that are not for table discussion, but I can tell us, as member of the State Executive Council, that the Benue State government is committed and is the driving force, is the first item on the 7-point agenda of His Excellency the Executive Governor of Benue State, security of lives and property, agriculture and rural development, and that for us to do agriculture and rural and transform our rural community to become an enviable place or a center of economic activity in the state, then there is every need to address the state of insecurity. So
okay, we'll go along. We'll isolate some of these key sectors. We cannot talk about all of it in just the space of 2 hours, but we isolate some of the sectors and discuss them as we go along. But for now, Dr. Daaor, I'm with you now. The issue of security, it also featured in the governor's inaugural address, which we listened to the clip earlier. Would you like to say gains have been recorded in regard to terming insecurity in Benue?
Okay, I'm not very sure. I have enough information when it comes to that to speak, because I know that security matters are not matters that are necessarily made known to the public.
Yes, but based on what we have seen, and it is reported in public domain.
Yes, would say I work in the communities. So I'll tell you that the mass attacks we used to have reduced, but we still have pockets of attacks. Just like he said, we still have pockets of attacks. And at several fora where we've come together, the security advisor has always told us that the government has all hands on deck to ensure that, and we've interacted with Operation Wellstroke and those security agencies within the state, and they said there's a lot going on in the background that we are not aware of. The skirmishes we have, we know that the farmer header crisis has a seasonal approach to it, but like he had said earlier, there's a criminal angle to some of the attacks we're having, where criminals have taken over and have blended it to look like it's still the farmer header crisis. We have some banditry, we have kidnapping and all that still going on within the state. But when it comes to insecurity, it's every man's business. I totally do not really have much to say there. I think the government is doing its best and we're hopeful. My only concern is the recent, it's beginning to look like it's leaving the rural communities, and we're having some form of banditry creeping into the state capital. So for me, that's where I would want to draw the attention of the government. A few weeks ago, we had an attack on that welfare quarters at Adeke Road, the back road, the new road, and we had a school had to be closed down for a while. I just heard they've been called back to school, and that is within the city center. So it makes us a bit apprehensive. Why is it coming closer if so much effort is being put in place? So for me, I think when it comes to insecurity, it's one of the toughest. The job to ensure security and peace returns to Benue State is one of the toughest one that this current government will have to tackle. I hope that at the end we come out on top, because for me.
Okay. All right,
It's a
we have
serious
several
matter.
persons already waiting on the line. We're so sorry, dear listener, that we had to take into your time at 10 o'clock when we should have started taking calls because we needed to also have some thoughts on Benue briefly so as to lead us into our discussions proper. And we'll engage with some calls before we continue our discussions. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, presenter.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, just in the studio.
Good morning.
Morning.
You are speaking with Mark. I'm one of the frontier of the Golokogo.
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Thank you so much. The present administration clock 1 year in office, I think, for Benue State here, is a welcome development. Based on the achievement we achieved from our governor so far, I believe before his first tenure in office, Benue State will have a new look because as he come on board, based on his inaugural speech, I think he is rather fulfilling his all campaign promises. And if there's a time, he will be able to fulfill all of them and do more. Because the issue of transportation is here in Benue State is now being easier for people by him to providing the buses from the Benue means company there. And even the students are smiling based on the registration of a final year student he cleared, and the civil servant and pensioners are also smiling. So I'm rather appealing to him to double his effort in terms of focusing his administration in the health sector, security, and agriculture. Because Benue State is the food basket of the nation. And the common man, the peasant farmers, are needing, having a demand from the support by the government. But for the federal, for the Mr. President, if you ask me, I can give Mr. President 5% out of 100. Because on his inaugural speech, he failed woefully by removing the fuel subsidy. Even though he says so, but as he can't discover that the Nigerians are facing hardship, it is based on this high cost of fuel price here in our country. He needs to reverse the decision.
Okay.
If not, if the fuel never comes down, this is how the suffering will continue. We were crying during the previous administration, but the hardship we are facing now is very, 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 very different from the past administration.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Go to our market, you will face a high cost of market commodities. So I don't think Mr. President do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate your submission. All right. Please, if you try to make your submission brief so as to enable us accommodate other persons who will likely want to also have an opinion.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
Yeah. My name is Vincent Ako. I'm calling from Wadata.
Okay. Thank you, Vincent, for joining us.
Thank you very much, sir. My thank you to all your guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello. Can you hear me clearly, sir?
Vincent, go ahead. You are on. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I want to say that for the past 1 year now, the governor of Benue State has done very well in all aspects. But talking about the federal, I don't think Mr. President has done anything. He has not done anything, and he needs to sit up. Just like the first caller said, that if he's to give him mark, he will give him just 10. Me, I'm going to give him only 1. And then I want to ask the Honorable Commissioner in the studio there. Okay, we are talking about how to survive in terms of food. And the present administration is talking about old national anthem. How does that concern our present hardship? I want the Honorable Commissioner to answer me. Thank you very much, sir.
Unfortunately, he's not a lawmaker. He's not in the National Assembly amongst those who are considering the national anthem issue. So, in any case, thank you, Vincent, for your question.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too. Honorable Commissioner, if you were in the National Assembly, as a National Assembly member, it would have been really important for you to comment, but all the same, his opinion is not. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Perspectives.
How are you in the studio?
I am fine, thank you. What is your name and where are you calling us
Pastor
from?
Pastor Yabgamwa from Mukum Local Government, Chetu Emastimi, Kende Ward.
Thank you, on the Yabgamwa. Go ahead, please.
I'm calling to celebrate with the governor because he did well in some areas.
and the other areas like health sector. I'm appealing to the governor that he should look into it because of the high exorbitant being experienced in the general hospitals. And in the agriculture, in Benue State, we are suffering because of rain. So he should implement the irrigation sector so that we can be having that, having a kind of machine that can pump water for us to go into irrigation farming because of there's no land in our side.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Gamma, thank you very much. We appreciate you. I thought you wanted the governor to cause the rains, but it's good that you mentioned irrigation. I hope the authorities are listening and we address that. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Welcome to Perspectives.
I am Jonathan Ichawe.
Good to
I'm
have
calling
you.
from
Yes.
North Bank, Rutko Estate, Makodi.
All right. Thank you for joining us on the program. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, yes. Let me start with the federal government. I think Bola Tinubu did not think through the policy of removal of fuel subsidy. This one thing has crashed our economy. Let nobody tell you that we are in a recession. The economy has crashed. That was a very bad policy. Then he worsened the situation by trying to merge the exchange rate, the bureau de change rate and the official rate. That just worsened the whole situation. So on economy, it has scored very low, very, very low. And I agree with one of your discussants there that the poor people are not breathing. They are suffocating. I am not a doomsday prophet. I believe in God. I believe in the powers of God to turn things around. But I am not seeing them do things that will turn anything around yet. Of course, the security is very, very bad. When the PDP government handed over power to the APC government, the dollar exchange at 170 naira. Well, you know where it is now. The power production was double what it is now. So we have to back all of us. I'm not despairing or asking anybody to give up hope. This country belongs to all of us and to God. And if we all cry to God, He is going to bring us out.
Okay.
The removal of fuel subsidy has thrown a lot of money in the Federation account. There is no month that they have shared less than over 1 trillion naira. It used to be, the highest used to be 700 or close to 800 billion naira.
Okay.
So the state also have a lot of money now. And I must commend our own governor for the physical development he is making. But I think our people, the key people say, the 16 roads he gave, in Makodi, if he had a cabinet, by the time he gave these 16 roads, maybe they would have advised him to spread this. Give 2 in Boko, 2 in Utupu, at least these 2 terms, 2 of such roles. And they would also have advised him properly on other issues.
Okay.
And I think the flyovers in Boko and in Makodi are misplaced priorities. They are good, but they are misplaced priorities. Let me give you an example of that in here. Yesterday,
Yes, very briefly, sir, because we have actually taken time. Very briefly, sir.
Yesterday my water finished in the tank. My gas also finished. You know what I will go for first? Water. Water is the greatest priority. It has no substitute. That is what I expected Governor Aria to go for first.
All right. Thank you very much,
And
sir.
secondly, I also score him low on transparency and on rule of law. I commend him on many other things that he's doing.
Okay, sir.
And I think we should all pray for him.
All right, sir.
He should also know that in government, it is not always yes, father. There are no fathers. He's not running, presiding over a parish, no.
Okay, thank you, sir. We should leave it at that. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Jonathan Chave, thank you for your contribution. And Honorable Commissioner, as a member of Cabinet, you are listening, and we hope you are listening to the assessment of Benue people. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you. I'm Kwaza Vincent calling from North Bank, Makodi.
All right, good to have you join us on the program, Kwaza Vincent.
My greetings to the guests in the studio. Yes. First of all, congratulate the present government for clocking 100 years in office.
No, 100. No,
1 year. Sorry,
Nigeria is in the territory.
Okay, 1 year in office today.
Maybe Kwaza Vincent, you want the government to stay for 100 years?
No, for clocking 1 year in office today.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, the government has tried a lot. There is a remarkable achievement in this first 1 year in office. He has done a lot. Coming to Benue here, our governor has done a lot. He has tried in so many areas. He has bring development in so many areas in our state here. But what I want him to do now is he should now focus his attention on the issue of security. You see, before, initially it was this issue of farmers' headers crisis. But now the crisis has taken another dimension. As you can see, in the area of recent, there is an attack within the city of the town, that is along welfare quarters road. And last Friday, there was an attack on this Uniagric road here, that the people were kidnapped. So the security challenge has taken another dimension. So you should follow them the way you followed the issue of farmers' headers crisis, that at least we have relative peace now. So when that is done, at least we'll have we will enjoy the dividends of democracy in our state here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kwaza Vincent. Thank you very much for your thoughts, Honorable Commissioner. We hope you should be able to take up some of the recommendations Benue people are making to the government. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. My name is Ibayi Makura, a video representative from Mbatiabo, Olora government.
Okay, thank you. Warm regards. Please go ahead, Igbaima.
Talking about 1 year in office of the present government. From the federal level, I commend President Tinubu for running government of inclusive, including opposition parties in his formation of cabinet. Secondly, taking bull by the horns to fixing what is rotten for long years in terms of trying to fix our local government in place by taking the governors to court. So let that judgment see the light of the day, so that what is rotten for long we come on board. And thirdly, by giving out some incentive, trying to square up or to alleviate the suffering of removing fuel subsidy by giving some amount for our state governors. I applauded him for that. But my reservation is at the beginning of his speech that the fuel subsidy has gone without fixing what could have been quotient or square the removal of fuel subsidy. I'm talking of the refineries. Have they been fixed each and every of the refineries? That has that we are facing now would have occurred. Coming to our state here, I thank our governor so much by taking that grant, also that grant to alleviate the suffering in the state by registering some of, especially the individual impaired persons. Some of them called me personally and attested to that they have been registered to write their final year exams freely without spending any kobo. I applauded him for that. And in the area of health, that the employment, what I heard, it was about 400 people that are employed. That one too is achievement. Talking about the issue of transport, the buses that he have deployed to Benue there is a welcome development.
Okay.
And I want him to do more by being transparent. You know, other times we do hear what according to our state here in terms of allocation, the revenue allocation of the state from the federal. But I'm a individual impaired person. I don't know what is Benue is receiving now and how it is being used. And let him
Okay, the network disconnected us, but you have made your point. I think he wanted to land on the transparency. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Nathan.
Good to have you join us on Perspectives.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, I guess.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And the other discussant. My name is Jude Perry. I'm calling from Bakume East.
Okay, go ahead, Jude.
Okay, thank you. Well, other callers have spoken so much. For me, first, let me appreciate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State, for the management of the few resources he got, both from the IGR from the state and the palliative that was given to him by the federal government. I must thank him for that. Now, to the federal government, the president has not done much. I must say this. Because in last year, when he removed the fuel subsidy, he told Nigerians that 31st January, Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream. We have not seen that. And that is the root of all the challenges or the difficulties Nigerians are passing through or going through. Because if the prices of fuel is down, the economy will be stabilized a little. Because the prices of our commodities and services will gradually come down. But the president has not done anything about it. Rather, he's talking about or negotiating with labor. Even the talks are failed to increase wages. If the wages are increased, inflation will go up. Now, there is hyperinflation in the country. We go into the market, there is daily rise in the prices of things. Every day you go into the market, there is increment in the prices of things. So the president should please sit up and do the needful.
All right.
Nigerians are suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you. The president should sit up and do the needful. Nigerians are suffering. And I think the leaders generally. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
Daniel Tena from your business.
All right, Daniel Tena, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I want to appreciate our executive governor.
Daniel,
Hello?
The network at your end.
Hello?
Daniel,
are you with me?
Yes, Daniel.
Hello?
Daniel.
Hello?
Daniel, you are on. Speak to us.
Okay, though. As I was saying, I want to appreciate him for what he has been doing for the past 1 year. In fact, yesterday I was at the BRS factory, and this commissioner's thing because it's not too far from my place. I saw this on my eyes. I really appreciate it. And you see, beginning of this program, you played what happened there last year, the speech. The first governor's speech is focused on security. He said that make sure that the RDP returns. But if I'm not mistaken, none of the RDP yet have returned to their insurance fund. And that is very important for me because me too, I'm an RDP. I'm happen to be in town, but I'm an RDP. So I'm pleading to him.
But
please, from the presidency.
Okay, Daniel, let me interrupt you quickly. Have you not been resettled in town as an IDP?
Huh?
Okay, have you not been resettled in town as an IDP?
I'm resettled, but my brothers and my village, I can't go to my village. And my brothers, even last week, they killed some of them, many of them, these headmen. So that's why I say like that.
Okay.
So I want to appeal to the president, now that he's good relationship with our governor. Let him support our governor. He has been doing well. Let him support our governor to tackle the issue of Christ, so that our brother and sister they return to home because nothing is more than house. And lastly, I want to appeal to the commissioner. I don't know that he's the charge of transportation. I want to appeal to him that Benue Link is helping us. But sometimes if you go to Benue Link, they will charge load more than human beings. So please and please, if they want to help us, let them help us. Let them talk the margin of Benue Links. Sometimes it's food. If you bring small food, they will say you give them 3,000. From me to take it down, it's 2,500. So please, thank you so much.
All right, Daniel.
Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. The government should beef up on fighting insecurity, to get the IDPs resettled, and then the issue of transport came up. Okay, let's come back to the studio. Honorable Commissioner, again, I will begin with you, and we'll start by having your comments on the reaction, particularly to the issues raised by Edda Jonathan Ijabe. He scored the government low on transparency and rule of law. How do you react to this? And in terms of transparency, would you say the government is being transparent? Somebody has asked us that they are not knowing how much is accruing to the state government with regards to federation allocation. Please comment on this.
Yeah, of course, the Reverend Gentleman himself, Reverend Dr. Hyacinth Omale, upon assumption of office, set out to put the books of government in perspective. Hence, the lien placed on all the accounts so that you can understudy them and then know what comes in and what goes out of government.
That leads me to interrupting you very briefly. That was also an issue in the inaugural address of the governor we listened to. All government accounts are frozen with immediate effect. Have the accounts been opened?
Yes, the account of government is operational, but with a keen management by the Ministry of Finance, wherein every transaction, as against what obtained before now, where you go to ministry or any of the MDAs having more than 5-10 accounts that are not even in the portal of the Ministry of Finance. All ministry or MDA's accounts now are generated from a central portal where the Office of the Commissioner of Finance is in the know of it, the Office of the Accountant General is in the know of it, so that they know all approvals and all expenditures that are coming in and out of the accounts. So I can confirm that all ministry or MDA's accounts are operational.
They have been unfreezed.
Operational.
Accounts are no longer frozen as the governor made that pronouncement.
Simply say all accounts are operational.
Okay.
Meaning I can access the account of my ministry upon approval and transact in line with due process.
All right. So
walk
us through the transparency and aspects of the rule of law, which the government has been scored low. What is it doing in this regard?
Again, it's perceptional, like I will always say, but the government is on the table for everybody to know what's happening. On matter of what come into the state is for everybody's common knowledge. It's a matter that you can also, without approaching the relevant authority of the Benue State government, know what come into the Benue State coffers. But as a government, the governor of Benue State have granted, operational autonomy to be it local government, to the judiciary, and to the legislative arm of government in Benue State, wherein everybody have their recurrent funds and operate and run their arms of government independent as at against what we used to have before now. That tells us how transparent the government has set out to carry out the business of government. And for the very first time, the government of Reverend Dr. Hyacinth Omale established again for the Benue State government the Office of Due Process. This Office of Due Process is to allow for all MDAs of government or every individual, group of persons or investors who are desirous of carrying out activity in government to comply with all the laws and regulations that are set out in a manner that is in the open for everybody to see and to understand. When we got into office, upon assumption of office, yes, there was a budget inherited, and there was a supplementary budget to wrap up the activity of government for the year 2023. That of 2024 was assented into law by the governor in January, and it was in the public domain. Several review or several articulations of the government budget for 2024 run from the office of the director Benue State Planning Commission, Budget and Economic Commission, have also given explanation to the Benue people what our budgetary projections are and the performing quotients of the budget of Benue State. These are all government activity to put transactional governance in the public domain. So when people begin to say, oh, we don't know what's happening, it means you don't bother to know. But if you bother to know from the portal of the Benue State Economic Commission, you will see all transaction of government. You see what come into government. You see all expenditures of government as against what we used to have in the time past. So I invite all Benue people to get involved in governance by interacting with the several open portals of government that tells us the activity of government per time, so that you can track what the government tells the people of Benue State they are doing and what the government of Benue State is doing and the stage where we are per time. That portal will also unveil to us what comes in and how it is being disbursed between the three arms of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial arm of government. And you can bother to step down to see how the local government are also dealing with the funds that accrue to them from federation account. So
okay, but on a rough idea, how much is Benue earning now on an average from the federation account as its share?
Yeah,
on the average.
It's not
maybe for some of us who are yet to go to the portals.
We always invite them to do, because it's not fixed, it's not static. What you get for the month of January will definitely not be that which you have in the month of March and April. So it depends on the general accrual to the federation account that the disbursement are made. So if I mention a figure, we might not necessarily be that guided. But of course, confirming that there is a reasonable improvement from what used to happen as a result of the fuel subsidy removal. And
okay.
For us in Benue State, there's a judicious application and utilization of all funds.
All right. He also alleged the misplaced, I'm quoting him, misplaced priority on certain projects and non-spread of projects and non-consultation with State Executive Council on certain decisions. You are a member of ESCO. How do you react to this, Honorable Commissioner?
Yeah, to put the record straight, all government policy, all government program and activity so far so good are product of ESCO, save for those that the governor before the constitutional composition of the executive committee as the chief executive officer of the state initiate. And upon the constitution of the executive council, all activities of government were brought for ratification. So therefore, they were not personal to the governor, but a product of executive decision in conception and implementation. And then, yes, council agreed that the state of the infrastructure at the state capital is of a lower representation, and hence it's a starting point. So the council proceed to award that 16 kilometer roads within the Makurdi metropolis for phase 1, so that we can give the state capital a facelift. And I can assure you, that does not also stop at the state capital. We have road project going on at Boko, and then we also have another intervening road project going on connecting in Kwande. We have going on in Vandikia. We have going on linking us from Alede through Obi to the federal highway at Oju Connect. All these are projects that are going on simultaneously. And the second phase is just being redesigned to very well articulate all the road network in Benue State, connecting local government by local government. And I can assure us that the ongoing jobs, road construction within Makurdi and the phase 1, within the phase 1 category, minus the bypass in high level and Boko respectively, are almost at 80-85% completion. And the government is committed to, in no distant time, closing on them, so that as much of them are beginning to be put to use. Misplaced priority, when people talk of the underpass and the Makurdi and Boko as a misplaced project, the government has explained to us repeatedly that these are desirous projects.
How desirous are they, Honorable Commissioner?
Yes, as we begin to redesign a modern Benue, there are certain features and facilities we also need to begin to introduce as a gradual progression, so as to put Benue State on the trajectory of modern and contemporary states there is in Nigeria. All right. Now, we are beginning to look or focus in our development plan for 2025-2035 to redesign an ultra-modern city for Benue State, using Makurdi, the state capital, as a flashpoint. And okay, if you do not face it out that in the first 1 year within these 10 years, you want to, these are your milestone, you can be rest assured that you will suppress most of this program or project that we are doing now and accumulate them in years for this government or successive government to come. We might be running them at a cost that will be astronomical, that will also impact on other intervention by the state government. So these are projections; they are not misplaced.
Okay.
They are in the conception of the renewed master plan for Benue State.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Let's take one more call. I'll come back to you shortly, Dr. Daaor. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you. I am Ondachi Gabriel from Ojakwa Madoka.
Welcome to the program, sir.
My regards to the guests in the house.
Go ahead, Ondachi.
Comparing
your radio is close to you, sir. You may turn down the volume or move away from it.
Comparing the federal level and state level in terms of 1 year in action, as called His Excellency, the Heaven Sent Religious Governor, Father Alia. He has done much. It is only when you are not in the state that you be told the story of the state. And when you come to the state, you say you nod your head and say, yes, what you have heard from outside is true. I want him to continue the good work he has started from the beginning. I am happy because one of the cabinet members is there. Let him convey this message to him. Some of the advisors are not telling him the truth thing. When they go out, they come back to tell him what is they have not seen. So as you are hearing from us now, this is where you go. The only thing that he remains to do is that let him not talk and then stand at it. When he talks, let him start the action immediately. And when he has spoken about, let him watch carefully if that place is happening. Now talk about is happening at all.
All right.
And like what he told us, I am a pensioner. Like what he told us about the pension, I am a state and local government pensioner. the promise of giving us at least month arrears. Up till now, we only returned only one month. Like starting from the beginning. The second is something we are not got in our hand. That cannot survive us. We cannot survive without its small one. So when you go back to his office, please convey that message. Let him help us the more. We are like Oliver, we want more. For the federal level, the only place that is spoiled to the head of state is this. Our head, I see that it is not the buttock that is bad. Only one part of the buttock, that is the anus. So when he started with his work, the place is stumbled, is the removal of the subsidy. If the subsidy is not removed, and all these activities are taking place in the country now, I think everybody will enjoy the country now in Nigeria.
All right.
So I want him to revert back, as they are doing now in the house, in the NAS. They are going back to old items. So let him go back to the oil subsidy and then maintain it for Nigeria again so that we enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. That as we have gone back to the old national, we should also, that will be our last call from Gabriel because our time was fast ticking away. Dr. Daaor, you are from the civil societies. They speak to us that the government's adherence to the rule of law.
I told you that at some point we were going to agree. Myself and my honorable commissioner would agree. And I was waiting for you to ask me to score this government. Straight up. Just ask me to score this government because now I'm excited to talk.
Okay.
I was not excited to talk about the federal government at all.
All right.
But with the state government, the story is totally different. And that's what I was trying to say. You cannot say that your government is doing something and we're not seeing visible change in the lives of the people. In Benue, we're seeing visible change. We're seeing it. The roads are there. We can see the roads. We're seeing that education-wise, we're registering our students in state-owned schools for their WAEC and their NECO. We're seeing improvement in our transportation system with Benue Links. We're seeing a lot, and then civil servants are receiving their salaries as at when due. And even though they say their arrears is just 1 month, but at least an effort is already being made. I begin to wonder if salaries were not being paid in Benue State, with the current economic situation that we're facing in the country, where would we be in this state? So a lot is being done here in Benue State. I think the governor and his cabinet are doing well. They are not perfect. Yes, they've not done. There are still many areas they need to touch. But when you look at what has happened now, that renewed hope he was talking about, we see it more here. There's a lot of renewed hope in the state that things can actually work. Because we're seeing road linkages in areas that we never thought would ever have roads. We're seeing that you can actually crisscross around the Makurdi capital. You can cut off a lot of traffic, a lot of areas just by moving through the new roads. We're seeing all that. We're seeing light at the state secretariat. They are actually linked to that GKBA for the first time. It sounds funny, but it's a serious matter because there's no government that wants to do serious business, and the civil service is the hub of government activities. We're seeing them being linked, and the renovations taking place at the state secretariat. I think a lot of people underplay what the mental state of staff should be. Walking into the state secretariat now, as a civil servant, you feel proud. The place looks good, and it's even being revamped with new furniture. So if all this is possible and we're seeing it now, this is what we're talking about. This is the governance that people are looking for. Am I saying that the earlier government is scored 100%? No. What I'm saying is that so far, so good. They are doing well. And if they continue at this trajectory, then it will get better. When we come back in 2 years, we will be looking at more progress.
Okay, so let's look at the areas that it needs to strengthen. The government needs to beef up, like you said, if it is as it is not scored 100%. What are those areas?
I mentioned earlier the issue of security.
Okay,
it needs to be beefed up. We need to do more. I commend the fact that more development agencies have come back into Benue State, as against what happened a lot of them left. A lot of international donors left the state, but this government must be doing something right. They are coming back into the state, which means that we're going to be receiving support to solve some of our problems. Where I think we need to work on the issues of the IDPs is at the front burner, but IDPs cannot go back to their immediate communities if we do not have security guaranteed in their communities. I'm aware that there are a lot of talks going on. The government is putting all hands on deck, working with international donors to develop durable solutions for the IDP situation in the state. But more needs to be done to ensure that the welfare of the IDPs is taken into consideration. It's a huge workload. I think Benue people don't even understand the amount of the humanitarian crisis we have on our hands, but I think we can do more there. I also think the health sector still needs a boost. I commend the opening of the mother and child hospital. It took me a while to even know it had started functioning, but from the reports I get, people are accessing healthcare there, and it seems to be doing well. But we need to look at our primary healthcare system. The PHCs at the community level, if they can be revamped, they need a lot of funding. They need skilled manpower. I know that when it comes to employment, the Benue State Teaching Hospital has received a boost when it comes to the human resources and then revamping, renovations and all that. But we need to look at the primary healthcare system in the state, because the common man at the grassroots has more access to PHCs before coming into the town to the tertiary institutions.
All right, let's take a few messages, and when we come back, I will draw our concluding words. This one says, good morning, Agate FM, I'm guest in the studio. 1 year in office by the federal government has not been enough, especially insecurity and economy, which he needed to sustain, empower, and some social investment programs. And for Benue State Governor, earlier has done so well, but I suggest our State Assembly to expedite action on the bill to establish state community policing to complement the efforts of the federal security agencies. Benki Galumo Phillips from Naka Ingwe West Local Government. Thank you, Philip, for your message. Another one here says, good morning, the presenter and the guests in the studio. The 1 year in office has been eventful in terms of infrastructure, citizens' welfare, e.g. salaries and registration. It is, however, serious attention should be given to security by providing patrol vehicles to the police, hunters, and other security outfits in the state. Displaced farmers should also return to their ancestral homes. The mechanization and industrialization of agricultural sector. Congratulations, Asogoni Dogara from North Bank in Makuda. Asogoni, thank you for your message. This one says, today His Excellency the President Ahmed Tinubu and Governor Hyacinthe Alia and other great leaders of Nigeria marked 1 year in office, whereas may their administration remain fashion conscious to attain the prospects in order not to betray the mandate given to them by the people. Good morning, Isaac Utsua from Iye in Goma. Okay, Isaac, thank you for your message. Another one here says, Happy Democracy Day. Oh, Democracy Day has been moved to June 12th and not today. My appreciation goes to the governor of Benue for his steadfastness and all that. I pray that may you continue in the direction of good governance. Bange Tefa from Po Imakodi. Okay, Bange, thank you for your message. And one last one here. Okay, I've taken that earlier. All right, there's a few that we're able to take. Our time is up. Honorable Commissioner, you are in the government. You have assessed, you have listened to the reactions of Benue people who are Nigerians, and your co-discussant. From your point of view as an insider, are there loopholes, and what are you working towards strengthening some of these loopholes from these identifiable challenges pointed out by those who have listened to us and your co-discussant on the program? This will be your concluding words, the commitment of the government with regards to strengthening these areas identified.
Yes, for me and on behalf of the state government is to reassure the good people of Benue State of the total commitment of His Excellency the Executive Governor of Benue State as the lead man in the governance space of his total commitment to good governance and to better the lots of the good people of Benue State and putting Benue State on the trajectory that it will be or regain our enviable place in the committee of states in Nigeria. The government is committed to giving expression to a clear-cut 7-point agenda, which will ultimately benefit the good people of Benue State. From the area of insecurity, rural development, power, job creation, agriculture, and infrastructural intervention and human capacity development. This government is committed. And like I said in my opening remarks, we are very optimistic that the first step in this first 1 year is suggestive that by the government staying focused will deliver on all the goals. And then privilege as a member of the executive committee or council of Benue State, I can see the projection from the council that as we wind down this second quarter and move into the second phase of our intervention, there will be very laudable and plausible critical sector intervention by this government, be it in the area of infrastructural development in our rural communities, to including that of road construction, to power and renewable energy, and strengthening our transport facility and activity. Just only 2 days ago, I got a notification from His Excellency that, hey, you need to look at logistics for our transport company. That very well addressed one of the concerns raised by our caller in, wherein he said, transport for goods is more than that of human head. So we are looking at the area of logistics for Benue Links as a model for ultra-modern transport sector that will address that.
All right.
So these are all focus, and then all we ask from the people of Benue State is to be some more patient, to be supportive of this government, be it in prayer, and then to protecting all government's infrastructure, and to be truly stakeholders in good governance that they deserve as a people.
Okay, you are inviting stakeholders too. All right, Dr. Daaor, your parting words.
I agree with
totally
the Honorable Commissioner that all hands should be on deck to make Benue the Benue of our dream. The government cannot do it on their own. They need our support. And most importantly, I'd like to encourage us to stop peddling rumors. We should not share information on social media that cannot be verified. Let's spend time going to the various sites that Honorable Commissioner has pointed us to, where we can get facts and figures on funds that are coming into the state and how they are spent. The Benue of our dream is a collective effort, and if we all put our hands together, when we come back here in another 1 year, we'll be singing hallelujah.
And that's our prayer. This is where we conclude on today's edition of Perspectives, which will discuss the federal and Benue State government's 1 year in office. I had the privilege of having my discussants, the Commissioner for Power, Renewable Energy and Transport in Benue State, Barrister Omale. Honorable Commissioner, thank you very much for coming on Perspectives. And congratulations to your government for its 1 year in office. We look forward to the very best in the years ahead. We also appreciate the Executive Director, a Public Affairs Commentator, Civil Society Person, Executive Director, Elohim Development Foundation, Dr. Victoria Daaor. Thank you very much, Dr. Daaor, for your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
Dear listener, that's our program for today. I hope you will join us on Friday for another edition of Perspectives, which will focus on another issue. I appreciate your listenership. Unfortunately, we couldn't take as many calls as we had envisaged to, but we hope you'll bear with us. Join us again for another edition of Perspectives. Have yourself a great Wednesday ahead. Goodbye. And my name is Nathaniel Nongu. I'll see you on Friday.